Charles Bronson was born Charles Dennis Bukinski on November 3, 1921, in Ehrenfeld, Pennsylvania, the 11th of 15 children in a struggling Lithuanian immigrant family. Life offered little comfort early on. When his father died, Bronson was just 10 years old, and necessity pushed him into Pennsylvania coal mines before he reached adulthood. The work was brutal, dangerous, and unforgiving, yet it forged the quiet resilience that later defined him. These early years shaped not only his physical toughness, but also a deeply internal sense of discipline and self-reliance. During World War II, Bronson served as a tail gunner in the U.S. Army Air Forces, flying more than 25 combat missions in the Pacific and earning a Purple Heart after being wounded. War reinforced his belief in endurance over words. After returning home, he used the GI Bill to study art, then acting, less out of ambition than curiosity, unaware that his lived hardship would become the foundation of one of cinema's most enduring screen personas. Finding a place in Hollywood, Bronson's early years in Hollywood were anything but glamorous. In the 1950s, he took small, often uncredited roles, playing henchmen, soldiers, or nameless toughs. Hollywood was cautious of his Eastern European surname during the Cold War, and he eventually adopted the name Charles Bronson to avoid prejudice that could stall his career. Progress came slowly, but he absorbed everything, learning the economy of movement and expression that would later set him apart. His breakthrough arrived with ensemble classics like The Magnificent Seven, 1960, and The Great Escape, 1963, where he portrayed men of few words but immense emotional weight. Audiences responded to his restraint. Unlike more theatrical stars, Bronson communicated through stillness, silence, and presence. These performances revealed vulnerability beneath toughness, earning him respect among directors and viewers alike. Though he was rarely the loudest figure on screen, he became unforgettable by refusing to overstate anything, allowing his character's humanity to emerge naturally. Stardom beyond America. While American studios were slow to recognize Bronson as a leading man, Europe embraced him enthusiastically. Films like Rider on the Rain, 1970, made him a sensation in France and Italy, where audiences admired his emotional restraint and stoic masculinity. European critics dubbed him Le Monstre Sacré, a term reserved for performers with commanding gravitas. This overseas success transformed Bronson into an international star and reshaped his career trajectory. He became selective, gravitating toward roles that aligned with his personal code, men navigating moral ambiguity rather than polished heroism. Films such as Once Upon a Time in the West, The Mechanic, and Hard Times solidified his image as the quiet anti-hero. By the time Death Wish premiered in 1974, Bronson had become a symbol of unresolved societal tension, channeling public unease about crime and justice without theatrical excess. The film's success cemented his place in cinematic history and defined an era of gritty realism in American cinema. Harriet Tendler and the early years before fame, Bronson's life was anchored by Harriet Tendler, his first wife and earliest believer. They met in 1947 as young acting students, married in 1949, and built a life defined by sacrifice. During years of uncertainty, Harriet worked to support the family while Bronson pursued acting opportunities that paid little and promised less. Their partnership was practical, grounded, and deeply formative. They raised 2 children, Suzanne and Tony, during Bronson's slow climb through television and film. Though his career eventually gained momentum, the pressures of work and prolonged separations took a toll. The marriage ended in 1965 after more than 15 years together. While their paths diverged, Harriet's role in Bronson's rise remained undeniable. She provided stability when none existed and helped carry him through the most uncertain chapter of his life. Her influence lingered quietly, embedded in the discipline and gratitude that Bronson carried into his later success. Jill Ireland, partnership and family. Bronson's second marriage, to English actress Jill Ireland, became the defining personal relationship of his life. They married in 1968, forming a partnership that blended love, creativity, and resilience. Together, they raised a large, blended family and made deliberate choices to prioritize closeness over convenience. Rather than separate work from home, they brought their children to film locations, turning sets into temporary family spaces. Their homes, particularly their Vermont farmhouse, reflected a desire for simplicity, privacy, and connection to nature. Jill's love for animals and equestrian life deeply shaped their family culture, especially in raising their daughter Zuleika as a competitive rider. The Bronsons valued togetherness over Hollywood convention, resisting the industry's pull toward distance and spectacle. Their relationship endured intense schedules and public attention because it was rooted in mutual respect and shared values. For Bronson, Jill was not only a wife, but a grounding force who softened his private world. Loss, courage, and advocacy. In the late 1980s, Jill Ireland was diagnosed with breast cancer, a battle that transformed both her life and Bronson's. Jill faced the illness with openness and resolve, becoming an advocate for awareness and patient dignity. She shared her experience through books and public speaking, offering hope to others navigating similar paths. Bronson, intensely private by nature, stood beside her quietly, devoting himself to her care and shielding their family from unnecessary exposure. Jill passed away in 1990 at the age of 54, surrounded by loved ones. Her death left Bronson profoundly altered. Though he rarely spoke publicly about grief, those close to him noted a deep withdrawal and a lingering sadness. A television film later honored Jill's life and courage, capturing the emotional gravity of their bond. For Bronson, loss did not harden him further. It deepened his humanity, reinforcing the value of loyalty, presence, and quiet endurance. Professional friction and perspective. Bronson's career placed him alongside many strong personalities, and not all relationships were effortless. One frequently discussed tension involved fellow actor James Coburn, a contrast in temperament and style rather than a personal feud. Where Bronson favored restraint and inward focus, Coburn embraced charm and spontaneity. Their differing approaches reflected broader philosophical differences about performance rather than animosity. Industry anecdotes sometimes exaggerated this contrast, but both men maintained professionalism throughout their careers. Bronson preferred distance, avoided Hollywood social rituals, and focused on work rather than image. Coburn navigated the industry with ease and humor. Over time, these differences became part of Hollywood lore, symbolizing two valid but opposing paths to screen presence. Bronson rarely commented, choosing silence over explanation. His focus remained on authenticity as he understood it. Rather than rivalry, the contrast underscored Bronson's defining trait, an unwavering commitment to his own values, regardless of how others interpreted them. Final years and quiet retreat. In his later years, Bronson gradually stepped away from acting, choosing privacy over visibility as his health declined. He married Kim Weeks in 1998, finding companionship during a period marked by reflection and physical limitation. Though no longer active on screen, he remained deeply connected to family and familiar landscapes, particularly Vermont. His final film appearance came in 1999, closing a career that spanned 5 decades. Bronson faced serious health challenges, including lung cancer, COPD, and heart disease, conditions shaped by age and earlier lifestyle factors common to his generation. He passed away on August 30, 2003, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, at the age of 81. His death was quiet, consistent with the way he lived. There were no grand gestures, only the conclusion of a life built on endurance, discipline, and an unyielding sense of self. Legacy of a quiet force. Charles Bronson was laid to rest in West Windsor, Vermont, far from Hollywood's glare, in a place that reflected his lifelong preference for simplicity and solitude. His legacy endures not through spectacle, but through presence. He redefined masculinity on screen by proving that power could exist without excess, that emotion could live within silence. Bronson's characters were not defined by speeches or theatrics, but by the weight of lived experience, a reflection of his own journey from hardship to international recognition. While trends in cinema evolved, his work remains timeless because it was rooted in authenticity. He did not chase approval or reshape himself for fashion. Instead, he stayed true to a personal code forged early in life. In doing so, Charles Bronson became more than an action star. He became a symbol of resilience, restraint, and the enduring strength of a man who spoke most clearly when he said the least.